reenact this.
Okay, hold on just a second.
Like,
Let's make sure that we're starting up here.
As soon as he gets his sip, then he goes back to dancing. That's basically it. I'm sorry, man.
Wow.
I just wanted to reenact it.
Okay. Well, it's like there's a whole dance routine going on in there.
Yeah, I'll find it. I'll send it to you, man.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That'd be awesome. Well, we can talk anything in the world of sports you want to talk about. We can talk about the guy with a special drink. No, that's not sports. But we can talk Winter Olympics. We can talk hockey. We can talk UTEP or El Paso Rhinos hockey. Anything in the world of sports that's going on. The league, of course, is in the All-Star break. I believe we've got a lot of that right here on our air. 600 ESPN El Paso. And so we could talk about how things are going in the NBA. How's the Thunder doing, Sal? Mr. Thunder right here. It's starting to come together a little bit now, isn't it?
They are. I mean, they're playing. I don't want to say they're playing a lot better. They're kind of clicking better, I should say. Yeah. It's just they lost Andre Roberson for the year. That's their best defender. And you know how it is when your glue guy on defense, when your anchor on defense is out. Even when he's out of the game just to go catch a breather on the bench, you know how detrimental that is to the team. To be out for the whole season, though, that's tough. But, I mean, they're doing as well as they could. I suppose they can score. It's just they can't stop anybody from scoring on them.
Ooh. Yeah, that's going to be a problem. Well, you know, you're going to be in games just because of Russell Wilson. And Russell Wilson.
He'd be a good addition.
Russell Wilson, excuse me. Russ Westbrook.
It's all right. I just woke up too, man.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, it's not that, but dang. Russell Wilson?
Well, he's actually a two-sport athlete anyway.
Well, he played baseball, but not basketball.
Actually, he was quite exceptional at basketball as well because I've seen some film of him.
You know, athletes are athletes.
You know which one, right? The high school basketball film of Russell Wilson?
No.
Yeah, he dropping dimes. Him and Tony Romo, I don't know who's better, actually. I'm not even joking.
Really?
I said it sarcastically.
Tony Romo?
Romo's a baller, yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Well, I know he can golf. Romo's a heck of a golfer. He's a good golfer. He's like I guess if you're an athlete, you're an athlete. Russell Wilson. Russell Westbrook, of course. But right now, 5th in the Western Conference. Houston, my goodness, what a half game. Well, they've lost one fewer game than the Golden State Warriors, but 44-13 as opposed to 44-14. Tied for best record in the league, roughly. Well, most wins in the league between Houston and Golden State. I wondered with the trades that Houston was making and getting Chris Paul and all that gang, what kind of a team they were going to have. Pretty good, as it turns out. I think that they did well in the offseason, don't you? Amazing. We'll talk about it if you want to, 880-5763, 880-KROD. Got San Antonio, next best record in the league, but that's almost 10 wins behind the league leaders, or the conference leaders anyway, and the league leaders in Houston and Golden State. 35 wins for the Spurs, who have had their issues this year. Off-court issues for Greg Popovich. That doesn't happen. Not to the Spurs. Gee, many. But it happened. We do have a caller on the line. Let's go to line 1. Augustine is with us. Augustine, Troll Powers Unite. What's going on, buddy?
Well, not only that, Duke, but my goodness gracious me.
Oh wow. It must really have made an impact.
Yeah, I mean, really talking about a headset? I mean, by Johnny Weir, I understand that it's a little bit slow in sports because there's no football. You have All-Star Weekend. We have NBA All-Star Weekend. There's no baseball. But talking about a headset, I think this is the opportune time, the most opportune time to actually talk about how the U.S. sports needs to change in order to become more competitive and not just, the same old, same old.
In more competitive how? How do you talk about?
I'm talking about relegation.
Oh, you're talking about for all, you say U.S. sports, you're not even talking about soccer. You're talking about all sports.
Yes.
I will say, okay, this is different. Now, there are a lot of folks, and obviously U.S. Soccer just had its presidential election. As Sunil Gulati decided he would not run for another term. Yeah, I think that is he recognized that there needed to be change, and as much money as they've made, and they're hundreds of millions in the bank right now. Sunil did a very good job in that respect, but there needed to be new leadership. Carlos Cordero is the new president of soccer, but he's been he was the second guy. He was he's the establishment pick.
Mm-hmm.
They had some very non-traditional picks: Kyle Martino, Eric Winalda. Those guys didn't even make it. If the vote had been split enough, they would have made it to a second ballot.
Yeah,
and then you would have had the top guys. But no, they didn't even get there.
Yeah, unfortunately, U.S. soccer, and I'm going to say this out loud, is becoming a mafia. A mafia of a few that have the power to decide for the whole sport. That is dangerous for U.S. soccer, as you saw with this year's World Cup not being a participant. So, and you listen to grumpy pundits, and you probably listen to, all those guys on other stations that talk soccer, that know about soccer, and the jury's still out on this decision with soccer. That it probably is more of the same thing. And that's when leadership becomes dangerous, because if it's the same leadership, this is where UTEP this is where UTEP comes in and says, "Wait a second, guys, we brought in somebody that's completely outside the UTEP family, and he's starting to make a difference with like yesterday during Steve's shows, the town hall meeting."
Right.
But unfortunately for U.S. soccer and for football, for baseball, for all the sports in the U.S., it has become stale. It has become, this thing of really basically the same old thing yet again and again, with all the teams at the bottom not caring enough to wanting to become better. On the other hand, for example, baseball, trade deadline comes in, and you want to trade all your good players because you want the money. And I think that's when relegation would come in handy and say, wait a second, you got to fight to stay in this league.
Well, that's never going to happen in any other sport other than soccer. I mean, when Alda talked about it, there were more than one of the soccer presidential candidates who talked about some system of promotion and relegation, which is an interesting concept, and I think that soccer should seriously consider that. But it's not going to apply in the NBA. There's no structure for that. Not really. You've got the farm leagues, but they're farm teams. They belong to the Major League Baseball squads. So, to have that in other sports doesn't make a lot of sense to people. Not that it wouldn't be, wouldn't help the competition, but no, not really. Not the way they're set up. And they do very well in terms of attendance, in terms of the money they pull in. Meanwhile, soccer, I know Major League Soccer likes to tout the fact that it's drawing more fans now on average per game than the National Hockey League, but that's the NHL is that's an 80-plus game home schedule. Yep. When Major League Soccer squads can charge $100 for a lower bowl seat for one game on a Wednesday night, like an NHL does, then you can talk to me about your average attendance. It's nowhere near that right now for MLS. Yeah. Now, I don't disagree with you. I think that promotion relegation would make the game pertinent, not just in MLS cities, but everywhere there's a club. It would be the best thing for soccer. I think it would be a good thing to spread that around and have your local community drive interest. If your team, if we had a team here in El Paso and you could promote yourself all the way to the top league, that would be astounding. That would be great. But
you see the interest in Juarez being the Bravos being in that second division.
Yes.
What is basically the second division.
Ascenso.
And even the interest from ESPN that they have actually bought the rights to transmit the games, the home games, and
that makes it pertinent. Exactly. When do you see ESPN vying for the rights to telecast any minor league team in any sport anywhere? You don't see that. You do in Mexico.
And this is the thing that if Bravos get they ascend to the next division, which is the top division in Mexico, ESPN already has a contract. So I think all of sports in the U.S. are need to go that direction to maintain a competitive advantage over sports, because at the end of the day, you want your team to care where it ends up, and be it at the top, being at the middle, being at the end, and there has to be consequences for you to really screw up your team and put it in last place.
They're due, and I know that there are those owners that have been accused in the past of, because the league shares revenue, that I'm speaking specifically of the National Football, or all of the sports really, because they all share those revenues. Major League Baseball is a little more individual, right? If you want to, you can pay above the luxury tax, but then you're paying luxury tax to the league, and nobody wants to do that anymore. But in the NFL especially, they all share the revenue. Everybody makes the same, so there's no incentive necessarily to be any better if you're Cleveland. I'm talking to you, Brownies.
Hey, Chad Middleton, where are you?
Right.
But,
look, I don't disagree, but I don't think it's applicable in other sports, not in America.
Well, there should be something, because I think there's this thing where you end last place and you're still in the talk. So.
Well, yeah, you're out of the playoffs. That's kind of its own promotion relegation. Hey, Augustine, I appreciate the call. We got to go to break, but thank you very much for calling today. Open phone lines for you, 880-576-3880-KROD, as we do Crunch Time. Filling in for the Iceman until noon when he takes over UTEP women's basketball. Coming up, we're going to be talking to Tom Herman a little bit later on. Coach of the Year for UTEP hockey. That's as we continue Crunch Time on this Saturday morning right here on 600 ESPN El Paso.
Salvador Montes here with your Sports Center update for 600 ESPN El Paso on this Crunch Time Saturday. Let's waste no time and get into it. Marty Herney on Friday was reinstated as the interim GM of the Carolina Panthers after the NFL informed the team that a 2-week investigation revealed no evidence that Herney harassed his ex-wife. He remains the front-runner to be named the full-time GM according to a league source. An announcement could come Monday, if not sooner. As for the Chiefs, David Amerson will stay in the AFC West after the Chiefs announced they had signed a free agent cornerback on Friday, and the Oakland Raiders released Amerson on February 5th, saving some $6 million against their salary cap. As for some news out of the Duke City, UNM Board of Regents voted Tuesday to deny football coach Bob Davies' appeal of a 30-day suspension, which will result of a university investigation into an alleged misconduct in his program. The school announced the unpaid suspension will begin on February 17th and will end on March 18th. So this is the first day of the suspension for Bob Davies. For your Sports Center update right here on 600 ESPN El Paso, I'm Salvador Montes.
Are you looking to create a memorable experience this summer for your group of 20, 100, or even 1,000 people? Well, the El Paso Chihuahuas are here to help. We've coordinated birthday parties, graduation celebrations, family reunions, staff appreciation nights, and more. Enjoy perks like special group rates, customizable buffet options, scoreboard recognition, and private hospitality areas. Let us do the heavy lifting so you can sit back, relax, and enjoy the game. Call 915-533-BASE for more information. The El Paso Chihuahuas. Fetch the fun. The San Diego Padres are coming to El Paso on Monday, March 26th, and the only way you can secure your seats right now is with Chihuahua Season Seats. Benefits include access to the Westar Bank Club, savings in the team shop, a flexible ticket exchange policy, and more. Whether you're purchasing seats for your family, company, or friends, we have the package that will fit your needs. Call 915-533-BASE to speak with one of our dedicated account executives today. The El Paso Chihuahuas. Fetch the fun.
UTEP basketball fans, the next Kevin Baker radio show will be Tuesday, February 20th at 6 p.m. from the Hilton Garden Inn University, 111 West University Avenue. Come join us as we talk minor basketball with Coach Baker. Enjoy the Baker Burger for just $8 during the live broadcast. It's 2 8-ounce patties, Swiss and American cheese, sauteed mushrooms, crispy bacon, and fries. That's Tuesday, February 20th at 6 p.m. for the Kevin Baker radio show at the Hilton Garden Inn University, 111 West University Avenue.
What happens when you put a wrestling ring on a cruise ship? Chris Jericho's Rockin' Wrestling Rager sees what happens, man. Come sail away with me, Chris Jericho, and Wrestling Hall of Fame legends like Jim Ross, DDP, Mick Foley, Rey Mysterio, and more on the vacation of a lifetime.
Package includes airfare to Miami, balcony cabin for 2. Accommodations include concerts, activities, all meals, access to ship amenities, and a photo with Chris Jericho. Winner must be 21, courtesy of 6-Man Live Loud. For full details, contest rules, and to enter, just go now.
See contest rules and details and register at 600ESPNElPaso.com.
El Paso's winter weather is generally mild.
But if there's a significant weather change,
ABC 7 Storm Track weather team will keep you and your family ahead of the changes.
so you'll know how to prepare.
If there's rain, snow, ice, or a drastic temperature change, we'll issue a Storm Track weather first alert. We issued that first alert to give you ample time to prepare.
And we'll let you know on air, online, and on the ABC 7 Storm Track weather and traffic app.
ABC 7 Storm Track weather team, always tracking severe weather.
Let me tell you about that guy. Not the healthiest, that's for sure. Almost never went to the gym, ate whatever junk food was lying around. I know he didn't feel good about himself. Luckily, he figured things out. Nothing earth-shattering, kept track of his exercise, ate healthier meals. He lost some weight and got that energy he needed to do the things he wanted to do. Best thing that ever happened to him, if you ask me. And you should ask me. I'm that guy.
ShareCare wants you to meet the healthier you. The free ShareCare app works with you, learning what you need to be healthier. From eating better to exercise plans to stress relief, it reminds you of simple things to do every day. Download ShareCare and get started today.
How old are you really? When you download ShareCare, you'll fill out a unique digital health assessment that's been taken by over 43 million people and measures key health indicators to see if your body matches up to your actual age. Discover your real age. You might be surprised. Download ShareCare today.
600ESPNElPaso.com.
Stevie Ray. Slow and steady. He can do fast too, pretty well. Welcome back to Crunch Time on a Saturday morning. Duke Keith in for the Iceman. Brandon Cohn, who is ready to do some UTEP women's basketball here at about an hour and a half, a little more. Going to be speaking very shortly with TCHC Coach of the Year, Tom Herman, talking about UTEP club hockey and the season they had, as Tom and his gang getting ready to do plenty more down out of the rink. Just because the Rhinos are out of town, don't think that nothing's happening in hockey world. That rink is always busy. But we'll be talking with Tom Herman here in a little bit, as the UTEP Miners, a much better season than I think a lot of folks thought they were going to have. And as a result, Tom Herman is the TCHC Coach of the Year for the Texas Collegiate Hockey Conference. And that is a pretty outstanding honor for the head coach. So we'll be talking with Tom Herman. You got your Olympic update hitting in about, I'd say, a minute and a half. And phone lines will be open for you at 880-576-3880-KROD. But we'll talk UTEP hockey. We will talk Winter Olympics if you wish. We'll talk the NBA. And we'll be talking boxing a little bit later on. Tonight is the big bout for Jennifer Hahn, for Ortiz and Alexander. Victor Ortiz, Devon Alexander. That is going to be quite the fight. You can watch it tonight live out at the Don Haskins Center. If you don't have your tickets, the card gets underway at 3 p.m. They go live to national television after 6 p.m., but a pretty solid night of boxing coming up for you from right here in El Paso, Texas. We'll be talking about that a little bit later on in the show as well. So a lot going on today in the world of sports, along with Johnny Weir's headsets. Augustine kind of got on my case about that a little bit That was my lead story. I know, but that's cool. It's just, I mean, you talk about eye-catching. That was amazing. But if we want to talk about the Olympics, you can most certainly give us a call about that as well. 880-576-3880-KROD. Promotion relegation, that is an interesting concept. Don't think it would work in any other American sport, but they really ought to consider some form of that perhaps in soccer. I know that if you're spending $150 million for a Major League Soccer franchise, which is what the going rate is these days, it's not going to be particularly good for you. Not going to like it. But right now, let's get our Olympic update. We go to South Korea.
Westwood One presents this special report on the 2018 Pyeongchang Olympic Winter Games, brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com for a free rate quote. The disappointments continue for the United States. The men's hockey team shut out by Olympic athletes from Russia 4-0, and Lindsey Vonn failed to win a medal in the Super G.
I gave it everything I had. I have no regrets. I made a mistake on the bottom, but that's what happens in Super G. So I'm disappointed, but I'm not upset because, all you can do is give it your best, and that's what I did.
Vonn on NBC after tying for 6th. There was a U.S. medal. It came in short track, where the U.S. failed to take any hardware 4 years ago. John Henry Kruger, a silver in the 1,000 meters. He wasn't in Sochi due to the swine flu, while Nathan Chen did not win a medal in men's figure skating. His free skate was the best of anyone. He moved from 17th place up to 5th. Yuzuru Hanyu of Japan repeated as the gold medal winner. With this update on the 2018 Olympics, I'm John Stashower, Westwood One Sports.
Hello, I'd like to deposit this to checking.
Fate is a fickle master. What? The future is uncertain.
Okay, and what's my account balance?
The horizon is cloudy. I see a long, treacherous voyage filled with great peril.
Look, can I just get a deposit slip or something?
A fortune bank teller. Surprising. What's not surprising? How much you could save by switching to Geico.
I see a yellow-eyed serpent and a low APR.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Pop quiz. What's the most important part of a ship? Don't answer. It's the crow's nest. Know why? Complete visibility. I can see what's on the horizon and my crew pulling the ship together on the deck below. That's how I run this ship, and that's why we use Grainger. Grainger helps us keep a clear eye on our inventory, saving us time, saving us money, and helping keep everything ship shape. It's always smooth sailing with Grainger. Call clickgrainger.com or stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
600 ESPN El Paso.
Welcome back, everybody, to Crunch Time here on this Saturday morning. It's 880-576-3880-KROD if you want to duck in some calls in a little bit. But right now, we're going to go to the phone lines, the Village Inn hotline, to speak to the TCHC Coach of the Year, Mr. Tom Herman. Tom, first of all, congratulations both on your season and on your Coach of the Year honors for the Texas Collegiate Hockey Conference. I don't think that you or anybody else thought that the Miners would be in the shape they were in at the end of the year. Is that about right?
Yeah, thanks, Duke, and thanks for having me. But no, after the start of the season that we had, is definitely a gut check time, and definitely needed to turn things around, and the guys did a really good job buying in, and we were able to turn our season around. That's outstanding, and I mean, I know that you had some issues with grades before December, and then things kind of cleared up for you in the new year. I mean, talk about some of the challenges you faced, and then how you were able to overcome them. You talk about buying in, and I would take it that they just put their nose to the grindstones and really got after it on the ice and off, I guess. Yeah, exactly. And so, coming off of the 2016-17 season, we won the championship, and we had a lot of guys, end up moving on for various reasons. They just, decided either to pursue other things or not want to go to school anymore. Okay. So, when we came into the season, we had a lot of new guys that needed to step up and take leadership roles, and it just took a little bit of time, and just to realize that we kind of had to change the way we played. And so, like I said, the guys stuck to the game plan and started to understand that we needed to all play the same way and pull the same way. And again, they bought in and did a really good job. And once once they kind of realize, like, hey, I need to take that leadership role and, be the guy to be looked at to score goals or make the big save or make the big defensive play instead of kind of leaning on other guys, that's when we really turned our season around and got things going.
Well, I mean, that's kind of what athletics is a growing experience and realizing where you fit, what you do, and how you need to fit into the whole team concept. And I mean, I guess you just you made strides, leaps and bounds ahead of where everybody thought you were. And this is an interesting deal. The Texas Collegiate Hockey Conference. It's club hockey, but the minors routinely play teams that in any other sport in college athletics they don't play. Talking about the Texas Longhorns, the Texas Aggies, Texas Tech, TCU, all a part of that, along with Texas State. I know they're in there as well, the University of North Texas, Dallas Baptist University. It's an 8-team conference, and it's some of the biggest names in all of college sports, but for club hockey. And you routinely play these guys in El Paso, in Austin, in College Station, thereabouts, all over the place during your season, too.
Yeah, exactly. It's a lot of fun to go out to College Station and see the football stadium, and then just play against A&M and the Aggies, or the same thing goes for UT, and see all those big Texas schools, and they all have really good hockey programs as well. The coaches and the students have done a really good job putting their programs together. So again, it doesn't fall under the athletic department all the time, but at the same time,
right.
When you put that school logo on a jersey, everyone's playing for the pride of their school and their community. So you still get that college atmosphere, and it's really amazing how it takes off. And hockey's really not the same as other sports when it comes to club sports. The ACHA has over 400 and some teams within 3 divisions. So it's not like a smaller, like, hey, let's pick up and hang out a few times a week and go play games.
Not a glorified beer league with a school logo, right?
Yeah, no.
It's more.
And it's a pretty well organized hockey conference that spreads over 3 divisions. It's competitive hockey, and players like from the Rhinos either come to UTEP or go to other college club teams. If they're not able to get a NCAA Division I or Division III scholarship, so it's a good outlet for student athletes. It provides really good hockey for them. It's fun to watch, it's fun to coach, and it's a lot of fun to be a part of.
Well, and I know for you, and we can talk about some of the guys who've kind of gone on from the El Paso Rhinos, specifically El Paso's own Mikey Rivera, won a national championship at the University of Central Oklahoma, which plays in the top level of ACHA hockey, and that is, Mikey was a good player and got an opportunity. He played for the University of Central Oklahoma, where he got an accounting degree. He's doing very well for himself. But that kid went and won a national championship at the college level.
No, absolutely. And, sometimes, again, it's just another outlet. Like,
sure.
He's from El Paso, so, it's hard for him to sometimes to get a good look. And then, he wasn't the biggest player, but he was definitely played with the biggest heart out there. And, and when you get recruited by an NCAA Division III team, sometimes the financial aspect of it is just too hard. And that's, again, where ACHA, you're able to go to, some other schools that the tuition's not as much, or it's not a private school. So it provides that outlet. And, Mikey did a fantastic job at UCO. He represented El Paso proudly, and he's actually taken on an assistant coaching role there now. And I think they won the national championship again last year, and then they won their conference already this year. So he's helping out. He's doing a great job, and we even have some former Rhinos from last season, Drake Cartwright and Simon Hobbs, and I might be missing one, but they came through the Rhino program and are playing for Mikey there now, and again, just doing a really good job representing the Rhinos and representing El Paso.
That is amazing, and I didn't know that. That's pretty incredible. That's really cool. But for you guys especially, and I know you played college hockey. You earned a scholarship at Alaska Fairbanks, which is a fairly good hockey tradition. at the top levels of the game in NCAA Division I. I mean, what do you see similarly? Excuse me, let's try to spit that one out. What do you see in terms of similarities for the college programs? I would imagine, all the kids, they have to be students. It's not like you're just getting a bunch of guys, like I was saying, a glorified beer league where dudes are hanging out and because they live in El Paso, they slap on a UTEP jersey. You're playing for school pride.
Yeah, exactly. And we basically follow the exact same rules as NCAA. Like, there's eligibility requirements, minimum credit requirements. They follow all those things. So again, you run into, all schools sometimes run into the problems when students aren't pulling their weight in the classroom. They're here to be students first and athletes second. And so it doesn't matter if you're NCAA Division I or ACHA Division III. You're going through the same process for grades, and you're going through the same process of how many credits you need to take to be eligible and to be able to play. So there's a few minor differences as far as what type of hockey background. For NCAA, you can't play major junior, for example, in Canada, right. and ACHA you can get a waiver for it. Just minor things like that. But other than that, again, they're normal student athlete having to follow, all the rules of the school and all the rules of the ACHA.
Well, let me take a look at we take a look at the conference standings. UTEP at the top of the league, at least through the regular season, 16-4 regular season record through 20 games. That puts you at the top. I know it didn't turn out quite the way you wanted it to in the conference tournament, as North Texas is your eventual champion, but quite an accomplishment, especially with the way the year, I guess, had really started. But 16-4, man, that's pretty special.
Yeah, we started conference play 0-3, and then we ended up winning every conference game after that until our final conference game at the end of the year against UT. So we went on a pretty good tear there, winning 16 in a row.
Wow.
And for conference play. So, again, just a good testament to the guys buying in. And, we battled injuries throughout the year, and, guys, we had one player leave to join the reserves, and, just different things all the time, right? And right. Again, it's not like junior hockey where you can trade players or pick players up at the deadline and stuff like that. This is
the team you have is the team you have, right?
Yeah, they're students first, so it makes it a little bit more challenging, but at the same time, the guys did a great job, and really proud of them. And I think of all 3 years, I think this was the most gratifying year as a program, just because of all the adversities that we went through, and they made it a lot of fun to come to the rink every day.
Speaking with Tom Herman, the Texas Collegiate Hockey Conference Coach of the Year for the UTEP men's hockey program, the UTEP hockey program. There is no women's program yet. I know that's some guys that your guys are always looking for something new there with the El Paso Hockey Association. But before we move on to what is coming up next, let's honor the first team, because of the 6 players on the ice and the 6 different slots available for all conference first team, half of the first team is UTEP players. Dominic Terrace at forward, Kevin Duncan on defense as defenseman, and the goalie Alex Lazarski. All of these guys, I would assume, did their stepping up through the season, and kudos to them for making first team all conference that way.
Yeah, again, just goes to show how, everyone bought in, and Dominic had a very good season offensively, and he really grew and matured as a player throughout the season. And, we were really happy with, how he played. Unfortunately, he got injured right at the end of the year and right before the playoff tournament. And then Kevin, he came to the team last season, was a really good defenseman for us, and played big minutes last year, and just continued on this year and took on a really big leadership role, and did a great job offensively and defensively, and did fantastic. He's a smaller defenseman, but he plays big, hits hard, and he's got a really good shot. And then Alex Lazarski, he's been our goalie for 3 years, and he's been our rock, on the back end. He's just he's kept us in it, and definitely been our go-to guy when we needed the big save and the big play. So, again, proud of all three of them. It was great to see us have three players on first team, but I think they were very deserving of it, and again, very proud of them.
And as we take a look at this program, it is interesting. Obviously, there are a lot of El Paso Rhinos who elect to stick around. One of the biggest reasons is the crowds you guys draw. I would imagine that at your level of collegiate club hockey, there isn't another rink, and I'm sure it's the same for the Rhinos because I've been on the road with those guys. There isn't another rink that has the same kind of atmosphere. There isn't another rink that has the same fan support, and that has to be a huge recruiting tool for you, honestly.
Yeah, and the first thing is obviously, UTEP's a great school. They got a lot of different degree programs available, and it's somewhat inexpensive to other schools, especially in Texas or other private schools. So that's definitely the first feather in the hat to get kids here, and then the second thing is the hockey environment, like you mentioned. Like our fans are fantastic. They're the best in the conference by far, and El Paso does a really good job coming out and support the club. And like you said, even for the Rhinos, there's no other fan base that even comes close to them. So our guys, we try to get out in the community as much as possible to show our thank yous, and but it's great to see all the fan support we've had the last 3 years, and we hope to see them keep coming out from here on out as well.
And let me talk about the ACHA Men's Division II. I know that you have designs eventually on moving up. Is it a different conference structure? Do they have a conference for each level of the ACHA? Because I know that there are programs where they have collegiate club teams at one school for every level of ACHA. What are your designs on the future for both the club and talk a little bit about the players you're going to be able to get for the 2018-2019 season?
Yeah, so the goal for the club, like even talking with the officers, like a part of the club and the rest of the guys on the team, we want to continue to grow it and bring as many top level players as we can that are interested in going to UTEP. So the goal is to always build and grow and get to places like Northern Arizona or Arizona State, where they have multiple teams at different levels. Northern Arizona is not the biggest school in Flagstaff, but they field two teams. And there's other schools in the nation where they have an NCAA Division I and then an ACHA Division I and two schools. So it's definitely an environment we want to continue to grow, and as long as we can keep supporting it and keep getting student athletes to come here, it just would be fantastic to have multiple teams wearing the UTEP logo on their jersey and representing El Paso and UTEP. So that's the plan, and to one, get students here, and then two, get their skates on and start playing. So it should make for a good 2018-19 season. How
are Canada's chances in the Winter Olympics, you think, for hockey?
It's sure different. It's sure different watching. You don't see the household names when the rosters got released for the U.S. and Canada. You're going through them.
These guys.
You're like, man, where did this guy play, or who's this guy, and stuff like that. It's definitely. I guess you could say it's leveled the playing field to a certain degree, but some of the European teams, they've been playing together for several years,
right? And
compared to the Canada and the U.S. team, where they just were like, wow, where are we going to find all our guys? So it's a little bit different, but it's exciting hockey still, and it's a good opportunity for the players that might have got overlooked, and I know there's some college players over there playing, so it's a really good opportunity to represent the country. But I know Canada lost yesterday in a shootout, and even the U.S. have lost in overtime. And normally that doesn't happen until they play against each other. One team finally loses, so it'll be interesting. I don't even know who I'd put my money on. Obviously, I'd put my money on Canada just because I'm Canadian. But
Never count out the Norwegians.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. So like Slovenia beats U.S. and the Czech Republic beats Canada, and it's exciting though. But it's Winter Olympics. I think it's nerve-wracking. But Winter Olympics, it's just fun to watch. See all the different sports and all the countries represented.
Very nice. Tom Herman, we appreciate you spending some time with us, and I know you got to get on the ice because it never stops there for you until you melt the ice in summertime. But congratulations again. TCHC Coach of the Year for the UTEP men's hockey program, a regular season conference championship in the TCHC, and 3 of the 6 first-team all-conference slots go to UTEP Miners. It has been a tremendously rewarding year, and thanks for being on to talk about it, Tom.
Appreciate it, Duke. Appreciate you having me.
Yes, sir. We'll be seeing Tom soon, later today. Let's go ahead and take a break, and we'll be back to wrap up our first hours. We head to UTEP women's basketball. You're listening to UTEP to Crunch Time. Where am I? I'm in.
We're the home for
right.
The home for UTEP women's basketball.
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
We are indeed. And we'll be back with plenty more Crunch Time as we continue right here on 600 ESPN El Paso.
When you need real news that's up-to-date and reliable, LoneStarTexasNews.com has it right at your fingertips with important developments that can happen quickly. Lone Star Texas News delivers the very latest up-to-date news that's important to Texans. So trust LoneStarTexasNews.com to keep you current in these rapidly changing times.
LoneStarTexasNews.com is presented by Texas Mutual Insurance Company, a policyholder-owned workers' comp provider. Work safe, Texas.
Running low on the stuff you need? Time for a Target run. We're here for all the big moments and the little ones too, like making tails wag. Buy 3, get 1 free all dog and cat treats with brands like Blue Buffalo and Milk-Bone. Or defeating drippy noses with Puffs 4-pack facial tissue, on sale just $4.49. For a sweet treat, grab a pound of strawberries on sale for $2.99. Get low prices on thousands of items today and every day. Target run and done. Pricing may vary. Restrictions may apply.
Get to JCPenney's President's Day sale and save up to 40% off select major appliance hot deals from brands like GE, Samsung, LG, and Frigidaire. Plus, get up to 30-month special financing on appliance purchases made through February 28th. Plus, free delivery and basic installation. Hurry in. These deals end soon. JCPenney. GEG, Profile G, Cafe, and higher. Limited to 10% off savings. Available in select stores. Some terms, conditions, and exclusions apply. Finance insurance valid 2/8/2/28. Must request a time of purchase subject to credit approval. Minimum monthly payments required. Free delivery and basic installation on appliance purchases over $299 and not available in all areas. See store associate or jcp.com/appliances for details.
When you're hiring, you don't want to sort through dozens of irrelevant resumes. You want a short list of qualified candidates. That's why you need Indeed.com. Post a job in minutes, set up screener questions, then zero in on qualified candidates using an intuitive online dashboard. Daryl has hired with Indeed.
Nothing has been this simple, this easy, and this effective.
Discover why 3 million businesses use Indeed for hiring. Post a job today at Indeed.com/hire. Search for greatness. Search Indeed.
Former UTEP Miner basketball player Tracy Miller knows what it's like to handle a pressure situation and deliver in the clutch. In the financial world, don't let the clock run out on your goals. Tracy can help you create a wealth plan, help you manage your investments, and she can help you work toward a comfortable retirement too. Call Tracy Miller at Morgan Stanley. Tracy has 18 years of experience as a financial advisor, and she's right here in El Paso. To make an appointment with Tracy, call 842-7914. Investments and services offered through Morgan Stanley Smith Barney LLC. Member SIPC.
Here's your halftime snack, kids.
Yes! Go-Go Squeeze. That's the best. It tastes great, it's fun, and I can toss them on my back for practice. Then just squeeze and bam! I'm ready to get back on the field.
I always say yes to Go-Go Squeeze for the halftime snack. There's no artificial anything. Made from 100% all-natural fruit and with over 25 flavors, Go-Go Squeeze gives the kids the fuel they need to explore, play, and just be kids. Go-Go Squeeze fruit-on-the-go pouches. Discover what we're made of. Find us in the applesauce aisle today.
It's time for some straight talk. Excited about a bigger tax refund? Now you can make it go even further with more high-speed data than ever before. Straight Talk's Ultimate Unlimited plan is just $55 a month on America's best networks. Get up to $200 off a Samsung Galaxy S7 when you activate in store. Straight Talk Wireless, only at Walmart.
Video typically streams at DVD quality. Offer valid until 4/18/18. At 60 gigabytes, we may review accounts for violations of terms and conditions found at straighttalk.com.
Hi, this is Dan Levitar. Join me weekdays from 8 to 11 on 600 ESPN El Paso.
Play it, Stevie. Stevie Ray. Woo. Love listening to that Texas Flood right there. I don't know if that was from Texas Flood, but my favorite Stevie Ray album. Oh, wow, from one music to the next. But that's going to open up phone lines for you. We can talk anything in the world of sports. Doesn't have to be hockey. Could be Winter Olympics. Could be Johnny Weir's headsets. Could be soccer. Could be boxing. We will talk a little bit about that boxing bouts tonight. Lots of bouts on that card this evening at the Don Haskins Center, including Jennifer Hahn versus Lisbeth Crespo for the IBF Women's Featherweight Championship of the World and national television as well. Ortiz-Alexander tonight at the Don. We'll talk more about that as we continue our crunch time for this Saturday morning, leading into UTEP women's basketball at high noon. That's all for you right here on 600 ESPN El Paso.
Hey El Paso, Lubingo has a new West Side location. We are now open at Belvedere and Westwind. With 12 locations to service your vehicle, we are El Paso's convenient car care center. With over 40 years of service to the community, we are pleased to provide you with abundant convenience and peace of mind when it comes to your vehicle. We offer warranty-approved services completed by certified personnel for every type of vehicle. Stop by and see why we are the Southwest's favorite oil change. I'm Mark Bochnowski with Lubingo, reminding you, if you love it, lube it.
What did you do on your phone today? You spent an entire lunch break building your perfect superhero emoji. You accidentally liked a post of your ex at a New Year's party from 2015. You found a new cartoon dog filter and spent an hour tilting your head to get it just right. There's nothing wrong with any of that, but now there's a free app on your phone that can actually make you healthier. Introducing ShareCare, the easy first step to becoming a healthier you. ShareCare works with you, learning what you need to be healthier, from eating better to fitness tips to stress relief. It recommends simple things to do every day and reminds you to do them. So after you're done building that emoji, see how your phone can actually improve your health. Download ShareCare today.
Introducing ShareCare. From personalized reminders to health management tools, it's a simple and convenient way to measure your progress as you become a healthier you. Download ShareCare and get started today.
As a former player for the UTEP women's basketball team, Tracy Miller delivered on the court for the Miners. In the financial world, you need someone who can help you work toward your goals. Things like your retirement and your kids' college fund. Tracy specializes in building relationships, creating a winning team to meet your financial needs. Call Tracy Miller at Morgan Stanley. Tracy has 18 years of experience as a financial advisor, and she's right here in El Paso. To make an appointment with Tracy, call 842-7914. Investments and services offered through Morgan Stanley Smith Barney, LLC. Member SIPC.
Texas Mutual Insurance Company is coming to El Paso to help your business build something important, a safer place to work. So mark your calendars, because on the morning of November 7th, the WorkSafe Texas Summit is happening. It's a safety-focused event specially designed for local businesses. You'll have access to experts in the field who will discuss sensible, effective measures for keeping your employees safe on the job. In addition, we'll be explaining new OSHA requirements directly affecting your industry. Texas Mutual representatives will be on hand to answer all your questions, and will be providing important materials that can help you protect your workers. Your people do a lot for your business, and we want to help you get them home safe each and every day. Come to the WorkSafe Texas Summit from 8 to 11:30 a.m. November 7th. It's informative, it's free, and we're even buying breakfast. Space is limited, so register today at WorksafeTexas.com.
Attention passengers, this will now be our final destination.
This isn't even a stop.
It's a few miles short. It's like a sign-up fee on a personal loan. You thought you'd get the whole train ride, but in the end, you got feed.
Where are we?
Getting a personal loan with a sign-up fee is like taking a train that doesn't reach your destination. Marcus by Goldman Sachs offers no-fee personal loans for home renovations, major purchases, or managing credit card debt. Don't get feed. Visit Marcus.com.
Are you paying too much for your Medicare Part D prescriptions? At Walgreens, that's a question you won't have to ask.
As a preferred pharmacy with many plans nationwide, Walgreens offers copays as low as $0 on select plans. So switching your prescriptions to Walgreens will be worth the trip. Millions of people have Walgreens as a preferred pharmacy in their network, so you could be saving big. Switch your prescriptions and start saving today. Walgreens, trusted since 1901. $0 copays apply to Tier 1 generics.
600 ESPN El Paso is KROD El Paso. Streaming worldwide at 600ESPNElPaso.com and through the 600 ESPN El Paso mobile app.
.600 ESPN El Paso.
Salvador Montes here with your Sports Center update for 600 ESPN El Paso. Before I begin the sports update with sports news, I want to give a special happy birthday shout out to my brother James and also my man Mike Tipton. He used to work here. Now he's out in Bristol, Connecticut with the mothership. I want to send a happy birthday out to those guys over there. As for some news regarding sports, let's go ahead and get over to David Amerson. He'll stay in the AFC West after the Kansas City Chiefs announced they had signed a free agent cornerback on Friday, and the Raiders released Amerson on February 5th, saving some $6 million against their salary cap. As for some other news, this regarding Arkansas State. Out of Jonesboro, Arkansas, they have sued Miami and is seeking $650,000 in damages for failing to reschedule the football game in Jonesboro that was canceled in September because of concerns about Hurricane Irma. And the lawsuit was filed in Craighead County District Court late Friday afternoon, and Arkansas State says Miami has refused to timely and reasonably reschedule the game in years in which it has openings. Miami was scheduled to play Arkansas State on September 9th as part of a two-game contract that saw the Red Wolves travel to face the Canes in 2014. However, because of travel issues ahead of Hurricane Irma, the game was canceled, and despite Arkansas State Athletic Director Terry Moahir offering to play the game a day earlier and aid with travel and accommodations. For your Sports Center update on 600 ESPN El Paso, I'm Salvador Montes.
600 ESPN El Paso.
The Sandy.
Welcome back, everybody. It is Walking the Tightrope with Stevie Ray. It is crunch time on a Saturday morning leading into UTEP women's basketball. The Iceman Brandon Cohn ready to bring you the UTEP Miners as they try to get back on the winning track. Things have not been going well for Kevin Baker's squad. I think that the fact that he has 9 players, he plays usually 8, and that's almost like a game. You just get worn down. And hoping the Miners can kind of right the ship a little bit as bust out of that losing skid. UTEP women's basketball coming up at high noon. Stevie Ray Vaughan from the In Step album. That was his last before his untimely accident, the helicopter accident that took his life in 1989. Actually, 1990, excuse me. But In Step from Stevie Ray. One of my favorites. And, of course, a Texas guitar legend. Love that, Stevie Ray. We've got open phone lines for you, 880-576-3880-KROD. You want to talk anything in the world of sports, we can talk UTEP women's basketball. How about the UTEP men? Big win in Charlotte. Did you see the end of that game? Yeah. The video?
Yeah, and
I posted that up.
It's so funny. I was watching it here actually on the app.
Oh, were you?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Paul Thomas with the fadeaway jumper just kind of spun off his man, took it inside, spun around, swish.
Paul Too Tall, baby. That's his Twitter name. I didn't make that up.
Oh, okay. That's his Twitter handle.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. Paul Too Tall. I like it. It rhymes. But the UTEP men's basketball team trying to continue their winning ways. And they won a road game for the first time this season in Conference USA. They're trying to win 2 games in a row for the first time this season, which would be great. It would be nice for UTEP. It is going to be an uphill slog because UTEP men's basketball has really kind of been hard up against it. The women today at Old Dominion. That is happening again at high noon, and our man, the Iceman, will have the call. But Conference USA women's basketball has been a little kinder for the women's team than it has for the men's or on the men's side. UTEP had been flirting with one of those top 4 slots and a first-round bye in the Conference USA tournament, which is coming soon enough. We're just around the corner for March Madness. But you look at the men's standings, and not so good for the UTEP men's basketball team. Actually dreadful. Let's be perfectly honest. It has not been a good year. And you talk about the head coach in Tim Floyd leaving in the middle of the season. We understand for health reasons. Phil Johnson, I think, had an opportunity to kind of turn the ship, or at least turn the ship in his own direction. I think he's done a pretty good job with what he's had. But I think to get the job as the next head men's basketball coach at the University of Texas at El Paso, he would have had to have had the Miners in contention for one of those top 4 spots and maybe taken them to the tournament. I don't know. Jim Center knows basketball coaches as well as football coaches. I think he's a football guy. UTEP's new athletic director. And with that great town hall yesterday, he is certainly getting the community to buy in to UTEP athletics in a way it has not. Probably since Mike Price was head football coach, honestly. But, or at least like the first year or 2 of Tim Floyd. I think everybody thought that Tim Floyd would do the same thing he'd done at USC, at Iowa State, at New Orleans, and get UTEP to an NCAA tournament. Just didn't happen for whatever reason. And there are a lot of extenuating circumstances, some of which we've talked about. The conference that UTEP is in Conference USA, is a 1-bid league for the NCAA men's tournament. You can talk about the level of basketball played here in Conference USA, I'm talking about. And that is always an issue because everybody goes to the head-to-head matchups. So Conference USA, who do they beat? Middle Tennessee is the program. Unless somebody beats Middle Tennessee, and Middle Tennessee has the right now the 13-1 record. Kermit Davis has got that program exactly where picked up where they left off last year. 21-5, they're already over 20 wins. 13-1 in Conference USA. They might be the at-large team if somebody else wins the conference tournament, but that's what it's going to take to get more than one. And UTEP was never there after that first season. It was really never there. And that's hard for a program that has prided itself on being that good mid-major. Well, things changed after the dissolution of the Western Athletic Conference back in the late 90s. The formation of the Mountain West. It's never been the same for UTEP. Not even for the basketball program. Even talk about football. Actually, football has been probably better in this, say, decade and a half than at any other time of UTEP football, which is sad. Let's be perfectly honest.
No, that's fair.
It's fair. Yeah. All right? I mean, Mike Price goes to 2 bowls in his first 2 seasons, goes to a 3rd later on. Sean Kugler goes to a bowl in his 2nd year. That's like the best run of UTEP football.
Right.
Forever.
That's real. Yeah, if you think about it. Obviously, you want to win the bowl game, but I mean,
Right,
just
which didn't
getting
happen,
there
but-
and you're UTEP and you get to a bowl game, it's a win in itself. And I hate to say this, but UTEP essentially over the last 20 years. I mean, and I'm just gonna be honest. UTEP the last 20 years, moral victory university. I'm just being real. Getting to the NCAA tournament, that's huge.
Yeah.
Getting to the CBI for the first time was huge.
Honestly, I have been here. When I first got to El Paso, I worked with UTEP. I was with the university when Don Haskins took the Miners to the Sweet 16, traveled with them to Dayton, watched them beat Kansas, traveled with them to Kansas City, and sadly lost to Cincinnati in the Sweet 16. But I was with them at the airport when they stepped off the plane after beating KU, after beating Kansas in 1992. And I was worried that I wasn't going to be able to get down the escalator because everybody was down at the bottom. I mean, thousands of people showed up. I think we got back at like 3 in the morning on a work day. We had the Sunday game, so it was Monday morning. And there were thousands of people at the airport. And the escalator just kept sending people down into this crowd, and you couldn't get out of the way. It was nuts. Were you born in 1992, Sal?
91.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, my. I realize who I'm talking to. Sorry. But, I mean, it was amazing. It was amazing. That was the last time that UTEP went to the NCAA under Don Haskins. That was, what I think it was like 5 or 6 more seasons that the Bear coached. And that was it. He never went back to the NCAA again. And that was like the zenith of my time in El Paso. I know in the 80s it was even better because I was attending UNM, being in Albuquerque at the time, always watching the Bear beat Gary Colson and the New Mexico Lobos. That just happened all the time. And I wondered when things were going to change. Well, it didn't. Back in the 1980s when you had guys like Antonio Davis and Greg Foster and Tim Hardaway.
He was pretty good, huh, Tim Hardaway?
Yeah, he was pretty decent. Pretty decent.
It's so
UTEP's
funny.
two-step.
It's funny that you mentioned that because now essentially the roles have reversed. UNM is this mid-major power. Well,
they'd like to think they are, but they're not.
This year they're not. Let's be honest. But years prior to that, they were a force to be reckoned with and could beat any team on any given night, assuming they play their best. And not many teams can say that. And of course, every team wants to beat the top teams, but you can actually look at New Mexico and New Mexico State going up against some of these better teams, and when they've lost against some of these teams in the NCAA tournament, they really didn't have their best game. But you can actually say if they played, to their best ability, they had a shot at beating any team. Whereas UTEP, the last couple of years, they play their best. They have a chance to beat Old Dominion. And you can't say that this year if they play their best.
Have a chance to beat Charlotte.
Exactly, and they had to play their best to beat Charlotte, and they only won by 1. This was for the 12th place in the conference, essentially.
Yeah,
and
that's for 12th play, the final berth in the Conference USA tournament.
and just
which is where UTEP is right now.
Exactly, and for New Mexico and New Mexico State right now, I'll just stick to New Mexico because we know New Mexico State's a power right now.
Yes,
where
they are.
we're at, but just going back to New Mexico, and you were saying how it was kind of tough for them back then. UTEP would love to switch places with New Mexico for 2 reasons. They've been to the tournament more recently, and also they're in this conference called the Mountain West.
Yeah. Yes, they would love to switch places.
It pains me to say this, but I also went to Jefferson, so our school colors are the same.
There you go. That's true.
Yeah, red,
I know
silver,
that.
and white. But as far as just basketball itself goes, New Mexico, despite them having a down year, I don't know how they did last year either, but in the last 10 years, I can remember them going to the tournament a lot or having some really, really good seasons and, some success and having some guys go to the league.
Wow.
And even if, I don't want to say turnover, but even if coaches leave or whatever the case may be, the coaches who get there are going into a school that has the foundation laid.
Well, Paul Weir is the I think it's Paul Weir. I want to make sure about that. It's the head coach. It's Paul Weir, who was at New Mexico State. Chris Jans is at New Mexico State, but Weir has taken over for Craig Neal. I think, and it was not good under Neal, who was Steve Alford's assistant, and obviously they did very well with Alford there. So they've had a lot of turnover, and that is a program that has always thought it should be more than it is. I'm telling you, man, delusions of grandeur. at New Mexico. That is Lobos basketball. Seriously. But, I mean, there for years, when they had Ellenberger, I mean, back in the 1970s, Stormin' Norman. Stormin' in the pit, they used to call it. Norm Ellenberger brought in the turquoise to the uniforms. They had turquoise there they've gotten rid of that at New Mexico. Still the cherry silver and white. Yeah. Oh, mercy. I mean, like full-on turquoise.
That was like the worst part about the whole thing, and it was tremendous.
Man.
Everything was tremendous, but that, like, nah.
Ooh, mercy. Yeah, it was a little shaky. But there through Lobogate in 1979, I mean, they had contenders that, draw 19,000 for a game against UNLV in the pit, which was the biggest crowd. They had to, like, bring in the fire marshal and start throwing people out. That was a big deal. They've never been there again, and they cheated to get there. And a lot of fans really, think that New Mexico basketball should be much better. The results have not been exactly what they've wanted. But UTEP basketball, New Mexico is well placed in the Mountain West. If things get better, they've got more upside because the conference gets multiple teams a year into the NCAA tournament. Conference USA is the right choice for UTEP to have made because that would have meant that they were in the WAC, and the WAC dissolved. They don't play football in the WAC anymore. If they'd stayed in the WAC, it would be WAC. It would be. I'm trying to be hip hop, dude. I'm trying to be hip hop.
That was
but
good, man.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
I dig it.
But it would have been terrible. So Bob Stoll made the right move, got UTEP into what was especially then a very good conference. They had a better television deal than the Mountain West when they first went into Conference USA. More money. But then Memphis left, along with all those other schools. The AAC formed and took away a whole bunch of the top teams in Conference USA. And now UTEP has been left in a conference that struggles and struggles to get more than one team into the NCAA tournament. I will say that the Miners, at least geographically speaking, are decently well placed where they play other Texas schools like the Rices and the UNTs.
And it also
and UTSA.
And it kind of, fulfills that Texas conference. Not fulfills, but it gives you an idea of what it could look like because, of course, people think of the Houston area when people think of the Houston area for college sports, they're not thinking about U of H or Rice. They're thinking about A&M.
Yeah.
But if there were a Texas conference to form, you have that idea of what it would be like UTEP taking on A&M geographically, or UTEP going up against UT when they play UTSA. I know there's a difference there, but just that geographical,
very large difference.
Aspect of traveling to Central Texas.
Well,
yeah,
it's helpful.
Exactly, and it gives you an idea of what it would look like if all these Texas schools got into one conference, and they got to go all the way over here as well.
What it looks like is when you go play a UTSA or a Rice or a UNT, you see lots of UTEP fans. You see a lot of ex-El Pasoans and people who now make their life and their living in Dallas, in Houston, in San Antonio. That's a lot of El Pasoans. And they always show up. There's a lot of orange and blue in the stands. Like UTEP orange and blue when they play UTSA. Especially for basketball, it's noticeable. But even football, they're in the Alamo Dome. You'll see them show up sporting those pickaxes. A lot of people are real angry at UTSA because they, took the pickaxe, turned it sideways, and called it a Roadrunner. The colors are very similar. Very, very similar. So a lot of people are upset with UTSA, but, in San Antonio, they're upset because UTSA, especially in football, is kind of where a lot of El Pasoans wish UTEP would be. It has not been that good for UTSA either, but they are really coming around as a program. They've taken another step as a football program. Basketball, UTEP still has them beat 3 ways to Sunday in terms of a basketball program. Better arena, better support, better, obviously, tons better tradition. But when it comes to football, the money sport, UTSA has kind of taken that, UT system school lead over UTEP in that regard. Let's go to Orlando, line 1, before we break today. Orly, what's going on, buddy? 880-576-3880-KROD. What's going on, man?
Dude?
Doing fine,
What's
man.
going on, dude? You know, you're listening to your conversation. You know what's sad?
What's sad?
Up to about 10 years ago, UTSA and North Texas would have been on our schedule as a cupcake.
Yep.
As an easy win, and now we're getting beat by them.
Yep.
That's what's sad. You know, you look at when we went into conference, you say you had the main pros, SMUs and Houston's. They broke away. I can remember going to games at SMU, and we'd outdraw them in attendance. Of course, they hated the UTEP. SMU always hated UTEP.
Sure.
But, you know, you look, who do we blame for we have no one to blame but ourselves, because their leadership at that time let this happen. In '99, when the WAC split out to the Mountain West, we were left behind again, and then it happened again recently in the last 4 years. The leadership has not been there. I guess they feel we need to be in a more inferior conference to be competitive. But I've always said the better the conference, the better recruits you're going to get.
Oh, no, don't kid yourself. UTEP, if they'd had the opportunity to jump to the Mountain West, would have done it in a heartbeat.
Well, it was.
They would have.
There's all indications, and there's people that in the know that have said it was offered to UTEP.
I don't believe that. That's not what I've heard, Orly. That's not what I've heard.
Not what I've heard from some of the big boosters. It was offered. Yeah, 2 people signed off on it, but ultimatum, the person that signs off did not want. They wanted to stay with the Texas teams. The Mountain West took San Jose State after that. We had the opportunity, and I think that individual now probably regrets the fact that we didn't jump back, because geographically it makes sense for as far as travel.
Well, the rivals were there, and I know, at the time, obviously before Utah and BYU left to do its own thing, Utah left to join the Pac-12, and those were 2 very, very large old WAC rivals. But just the fact that you're in with New Mexico.
You got
Colorado
Vegas,
State even. Right, UNLV, yes, absolutely. People here have never looked east for their rivalries. They've always looked north and west.
But you know what? I do miss the rivalry with Houston and SMU.
Yeah.
They were beginning to build. Even Tulane was beginning to be a rival.
Yeah.
In somewhat. UTSA is trying to become a rival with us. They've gotten very nasty on what they call UTEP. I mean, you've heard that.
Oh, really? No, I haven't heard that.
Oh, they call Texas El Paso. I can't say the word because I don't want to get bleeped.
Okay. Thank you.
It goes with blank town.
Oh, boy.
It's gotten ugly. They did not announce the young man in the basketball game.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. I think that, the PA announcer came over and apologized because he'd left him off, and I've been in that role before and screwed up a starting lineup, and that's really sad that if you're from San Antonio, you're there in front of your friends and family, and the guy just completely ignores you. That's not
bottom
cool.
Bottom line, there's going to be another reshuffling of the. There's going to be more realignment coming.
There will be.
And UTEP's got to build its base where it's going to be wanted in this new realignment.
Correct.
Right now, we have nothing to offer. Our basketball team, you can say illness, whatever you want. I don't care. I just think certain individuals saw this team was not going to be very good, and they made them sick. We can question all you want, but I think I'm just as blamed the rest of the boosters were when the hiring team of Tim Floyd. Everybody saw, this is the best thing. I turned after that first year when he lost to Memphis, and what he did to Culpeper and to who was the guy that jumped to Mississippi State?
Oh yeah,
Moultrie.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah, and I
Arnett
saw
Moultrie.
that on the writing on the wall. And we've never been the same. I just think for everything that was built in the past, all the great things that our great Coach Haskins did, has been torn down in the last 5 years. We are no longer a mid-major power. We're a laughingstock. Of all programs that we wanted to be, we had our basketball. We had the pride. It was a tough place to come into the Haskins Center and win. Now you got UT San Antonio coming in and beating us.
Well, I will
Marshall.
say, yeah, Marshall. Yeah, Marshall's a little different, but UTSA, they don't have. I mean, basketball-wise, meh.
For
UTSA.
You know, it's a shame. This program's only been around 9 years.
Yeah.
In football.
Yeah.
They've
It's
done more
played
than
Division
we've
I
done in 90
basketball for a long time, but they've got no tradition to speak of.
But you know what bothers me, Duke, is the comment. Well, we lead Conference USA in attendance. Really? Have you seen the arenas we play in?
Yeah.
They're glorified
including
high school.
UTSA. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, you can spin it all you want. I mean, you can have 6,000 people say in attendance. In reality, they're counting the season tickets.
Sure they are.
There's only about 2,500, 3,000 there.
Yeah.
So you can spin it all you want.
I appreciate it, Arlie. And your phone call's welcome at 880-5763. We have to take a break, but my thanks to Orly for calling in, and we will talk more about this on the other side of the break as we lead into UTEP women's basketball. Miners versus ODU today, high noon, 34 minutes away. The Iceman, Brandon Cohn. Coming up for you, we will talk more UTEP, and we'll talk anything else in the world of sports you want to talk about at 880-5763. It's crunch time on 600 ESPN El Paso.
The San Diego Padres are coming to El Paso on Monday, March 26th, and the only way you can secure your seats right now is with Chihuahua Season Seats. Benefits include access to the Westar Bank Club, savings in the team shop, a flexible ticket exchange policy, and more. Whether you're purchasing seats for your family, company, or friends, we have the package that will fit your needs. Call 915-533-BASE to speak with one of our dedicated account executives today. The El Paso Chihuahuas. Fetch the fun.
Get to JCPenney's President's Day sale and save up to 40% off select major appliance hot deals from brands like GE, Samsung, LG, and Frigidaire. Plus, get up to 30-month special financing on appliance purchases made through February 28th, plus free delivery and basic installation. Hurry in, these deals end soon. JCPenney. GE, Profile, GE, Cafe, and Higher, limited to 10% off savings. Available in select stores. Some terms, conditions, and exclusions apply. Finance and terms valid 2/8 to 2/28. Must request a time of purchase subject to credit approval. Minimum monthly payments required. Free delivery and basic installation on appliance purchases over $299 and not available in all areas. See store associate or jcp.com/appliances for details.
He was kind of annoyed with himself, you know what I mean? He had no energy, couldn't even get to the top of the stairs without getting winded. But then he said no more, got his act together. It was little things at first, walking more, passing on dessert, but soon he was back in the game and could run upstairs without even thinking about it. Nobody's happier about that than me, because that guy is me.
ShareCare wants you to meet the healthier you. The free ShareCare app works with you, learning what you need to be healthier. From eating better to exercise plans to stress relief, it reminds you of simple things to do every day. Download ShareCare and get started today.
Over 200,000 questions and answers from various health experts, thousands of videos, articles, and slideshows on topics that matter to you. Download ShareCare and get instant access to a wealth of information that covers almost any health and wellness questions you have. Download ShareCare today.
Here's your halftime snack, kids.
Yes! Go-Go Squeeze. That's the best. It tastes great, it's fun, and I can toss them on my back for practice. Then just squeeze and bam! I'm ready to get back on the field.
I always say yes to Go-Go Squeeze for the halftime snack. There's no artificial anything. Made from 100% all-natural fruit and with over 25 flavors, Go-Go Squeeze gives the kids the fuel they need to explore, play, and just be kids. Go-Go Squeeze fruit-on-the-go pouches. Discover what we're made of. Find us in the applesauce aisle today.
Everyone loves new technology, especially doorbuster savings up to 40% off. Dell's President's Day sale includes deals on PCs that feature Dell Cinema for incredible color, sound, and streaming. Save up to 40% on select PCs with Intel Core processors and the latest gaming PCs, plus the hottest electronics and accessories. Shop doorbuster offers throughout the sale going on now, plus free shipping. Just visit Dell.com/President's Day or call 800-BUY-DELL. That's 800-BUY-DELL.
UTEP basketball fans, the next Kevin Baker radio show will be Tuesday, February 20th at 6 p.m. from the Hilton Garden Inn University, 111 West University Avenue. Come join us as we talk minor basketball with Coach Baker. Enjoy the Baker Burger for just $8 during the live broadcast. It's 2 8-ounce patties, Swiss and American cheese, sauteed mushrooms, crispy bacon, and fries. That's Tuesday, February 20th at 6 p.m. for the Kevin Baker radio show at the Hilton Garden Inn University, 111 West University Avenue.
Texas affords great business businesses the freedom to grow. Outstanding business practices affords Texans one of the strongest economies in the country. This is Inside Texas Business.
Producing extraordinary guest experiences is important, says Eric Anderson, co-chairman and CEO of Topgolf Entertainment Group.
With 26 venues serving 13 million guests annually and the world's largest digital golf audience, Topgolf has become a go-to destination for fun, both in-venue and online.
Inside Texas Business, presented by Texas Mutual Insurance Company, a policyholder-owned workers' comp provider. Work safe, Texas.
If you haven't tuned into Sports Talk, here's what you missed.
William Benjamin is joining us next on the phone lines.
I don't understand why UTEP wouldn't give Greg Foster an opportunity. To think that he couldn't go into a young man's house and recruit is ridiculous.
Let me throw you a curve. What if Foster and Tim Hardaway are both interested in wanting to come back to UTEP? Then what do you do?
Man, then you have two beautiful choices to be your next head
Sports
coach.
Talk, weekdays 4 to 7, part of Team 600 ESPN El Paso.
Westwood One presents this special report of the 2018 Pyeongchang Olympic Winter Games. A hockey blowout to end Group B play. Ralph Strange's on Westwood One called the U.S. getting shut out.
Team Olympic athlete from Russia out-hit, outworked, outclassed, and outscored the men's USA hockey team 4-0 and put themselves into the quarterfinal round. Team USA, who has only scored 4 goals in 3 games, has to regroup and await reseeding into the qualification playoffs. They'll play again, but the road to the podium just got longer and harder.
Amay Baini, the 18-year-old American speed skater, had another rough outing, finishing last for the second straight time. But better news in freestyle skiing. American Jonathan Lillis, in a surprise, had the best qualifying score in the aerials. It would be an emotional story if he won a medal. 5 months ago, Lillis's younger brother died suddenly in his sleep at the age of 17. With this update on the 2018 Olympics, I'm John Stashauer, Westwood One Sports.
Want to know my favorite word? Simple. It's how I run my life. Wear the same work boots every day? Simple. Have the same lunch? Simple. Take the same route to work? Simple. But sometimes my job gets complicated. That's why I use Grainger. No matter what issues the job throws at me, Grainger keeps things simple. Online ordering? Simple. Managing my inventory? Simple. And if something pops up, Grainger's got my back with 24/7 customer support. Simple as that. Call, click Grainger.com, or stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it.
The Starlight Lounge presents An Evening with the Progressive Box.
Adios, old friend. Yeah, I've got no secrets and no regrets. Well, a lot of regrets, but the point is I've got nothing to hide. Kind of like the way Progressive shows you their competitors' rates. You gotta put it all out there, baby. Excuse me, miss. Does this heart belong to you? Would you like it anyway?
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Comparisons not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
It's Stugatz, UTEP women's basketball fans. 600 ESPN El Paso has you covered every minute, every game.
Don't stop believing. Hold on to that feeling.
Welcome back, everybody. It is crunch time on a Saturday morning. We have under 30 minutes until we talk to the Iceman, Brandon Cohn, live from Virginia as the Miners get ready to face ODU, one of historically the best women's basketball programs in the United States. That's history. It's not so good for you for ODU this year. But before we talk a little more about UTEP, we're going to talk about Premier Boxing Championship because the PBC has got an excellent card on tap for you tonight, live from the Don Haskins Center. It will be nationally televised after 6 p.m., but how about El Paso's own Jennifer Hahn, the IBF featherweight women's champion of the world versus Lisbeth Crespo. She will be in there along with, of course, the main event. We're talking Victor Ortiz versus Devon Alexander. And very interesting contrasting styles for these two boxers who are trying to get back into the mainstream, to get back into the title bout conversation or the world rankings anyway. Caleb Plant and Rogelio Medina, Porky Medina, this is an IBF eliminator fight. This may be one of the biggest, it's right under the main event. And we'll be talking with Lester Bedford here, hopefully in the next 5 minutes or so, to talk about tonight's bouts. Tony Harrison and George Sosa, Carlos Balderas, Jorge Rojas, Austin Trout, down from Las Cruces. He's climbing back into the ring versus Juan de Angel, kind of getting back into the thick of things. And then, of course, Jennifer Hahn versus Lisbeth Crespo, the IBF Featherweight Female Championship of the World on the line tonight. Jennifer Hahn has held that belt for a few years now. She wants to keep holding onto that belt after this evening. But that is all happening this afternoon and this evening. Gets underway, as a matter of fact, in about 3.5 hours at the Don. And the tickets are available pretty much everywhere. On the floor, up in the stands. Come see some excellent boxing. It will be nationally televised via Fox as well. It is a Premier Boxing Championship at the Don Haskins Center, and Ortiz versus Alexander as your main event fight. I saw one of the fight predictions from, I think this was from CBS Sports. Devon Alexander in 4. That's what the prediction was. This is like we had 12-round fight. He's saying Ortiz is like more of he kind of comes at you like straight ahead. Victor Ortiz fights, man. That's what I've heard. He like gets after it.
It kind of reminds me in a way, and I'm not saying he's Tyson, but just that mentality of I'm coming right at you. The only way you're going to stop me is if you do what I do, but better.
Right. Well,
and be a bit faster. So it's that's an interesting take. I never really thought about that. But to say in 4, he's going to have to go as hard as Ortiz, or even harder, if, in my opinion. But I think since that fight when he got his jaw dislocated or broken, his style has kind of changed a bit. But this man's a warrior. He doesn't care if he broke his jaw before or not. He's going to go.
No, yeah, he's going to give it his all. That much you can. I mean, it's going to be entertaining, whatever happens. But that's what they're saying is Devon Alexander's got some good hand speed, has good strength, can land a few punches, and he may get a few flush shots on Victor Ortiz's face.
Oh, yeah, you're probably getting hit with Victor, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're giving and getting, I guess. So it's going to be a heck of a battle tonight. I'm looking forward to being there. And we will be talking, hopefully, with Lester Bedford shortly. Just to touch on the UTEP basketball question again, in the conference affiliation. We talk about this just about every time I'm on. It winds up that way, it seems like. And it's just, I mean, it's tough. Orly saying that the chance to join the Mountain West was proffered to UTEP and they turned it down. I don't think so. I think that they would. Bob Stoll definitely wanted to go. Now I know Bob Stoll doesn't make the final decision. That would be Diana Natalicio, and I think that's what Orly was getting after. But yeah, I don't think that. I don't remember ever even hearing about that. And that would be astounding. Now, back in the day, before Memphis left, before Houston left, before some of these other schools left Conference USA and just gutted the television contract, again, as I point out, CUSA had the better TV deal. They just did. But things change. The Mountain West is a lot more stable, and they've been able to add this and that and the other, even, surviving BYU leaving, surviving Boise State almost leaving. Boise State was going to jump to the AAC with San Diego State until they realized that would just be stupid, and they didn't do it. So that's good. So I think the Mountain West kind of dodged a huge bullet there, but they've survived TCU leaving for the Big 12. And they have been stable because there are that core group of schools in some pretty big Southwestern and Mountain West cities. The Denver Metroplex, obviously, they don't have a school there, but very supportive. I know Colorado State's not far away. Air Force Academy south of the Denver area. Those are, decently large places. Vegas is obviously a very big place. I think like over 1 million people live in Las Vegas. San Diego State's been doing some great things. Albuquerque. It surprised me that that whole region is now bigger than El Paso. I came from there. I don't remember that, but sometime over the last 20-some-odd years, that's happened. They are Salt Lake City, when Utah was in back in the day, that was solid. So some big cities and stable schools. The Mountain West has been able to move, even though they have not been the strongest since the BYU and Utah left. They've been able to kind of get things done and stay relevant. That's not the case for UTEP. That's not the case for Conference USA. Something Jim Center certainly hopes to change. As for UTEP women's basketball versus Old Dominion today, good opportunity for the Miners to kind of break out of a losing slump, although it is a road game, and you can't take anything for granted, especially that far east. But UTEP has done decently well on the road, splitting most of those games. You know, they'll lose the first one or lose the second one, and they never come away winless from these road trips, or haven't yet, when they're 2-game road swings. We'll see if the Miners can hold serve today. Brandon Cohn with the call coming up in about 20 minutes as the UTEP Miners take on Old Dominion. Tell you what, let's go ahead and take another break, and when we come back, we will hopefully be able to talk about the Premier Boxing Championship card tonight with Lester Bedford. That's as we continue. You want me to keep going? All right, so we'll just, we may be talking to Lester sooner than I thought. So we'll hang with it here. But Lester, obviously a very busy man, taking some time out of his day to talk about the card today. And I know a lot of El Pasoans anxious to watch Jennifer Hahn. The native El Pasoan, of course, Jennifer and her whole family, highly decorated combat sports, whether it's coming to judo, to kickboxing, martial arts, and then onto the boxing ring. The Hahn family. It is kind of the Hahn dynasty here in El Paso, Texas, that's for sure. And on to talk about that, plus all of the other great bouts, is Lester Bedford, one of the fine promoters who has... Lester, how long have you been doing fights in El Paso, Texas?
Oh, man, I go back to like 1987, 1988, something in that neighborhood.
Wow.
It's been a while. All the way back to Fernie Morales was the first fight that I did. It was a North American title fight at the Coliseum, and I think the first network TV fight I did here was Stevie Cruz against Jorge Paez a long, long time ago.
Ooh.
There's been a long list of great fighters that passed through here since then, and I've been pretty much involved in every one of the major fights since that time.
And, of course, we're talking the Oscar de la Hoya spectacle in the Sun Bowl. I mean, this was, from top to bottom, you have consistently brought some of the biggest events that El Paso's seen. And
in fact, I saw one of them here the other day. Fernando Vargas sold out the Don Haskins Center a few years ago, and Marco Antonio Pereira.
Wow.
Eric Morales, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr.
That's amazing.
Floyd Mayweather fought here at the Coliseum, believe it or not.
Holy cow!
And he fought on the undercard as a prelim fighter. He was only about 6-0 or something like that. And
if only we knew then what we know now.
There's been so many greats that passed through here, and but they just keep coming. It's just as long as the fans are support them, they'll keep coming back.
Yeah, let me ask you about that, because obviously, this is a pretty good fight town. You keep bringing bouts here. What is it about El Paso that keeps you bringing fights to the Sun City?
Well, if you give El Paso fight fans a big show, a good event, they'll come. It's one of those, you build it, they will come. Well, we built it, and they come. And my job is to work with the promoters and get them to see all the benefits of coming to El Paso, and but I'm totally dependent on the promoters themselves to pull the trigger. And Tom Brown, who's the promoter of this one, we're fortunate that that he was looking for a venue, and this just happened to be a good fit, especially when we were able to pull Jennifer Hahn and put her on there, and we had Austin Trout, and all of a sudden we've got 4 world champions, right. with Devon Alexander fighting Victor Ortiz, 2 former welterweight champions of the world fighting each other. That's a pretty big main event right there. And with Jennifer defending her title against the #1 contender, and Austin Trout fighting, and and then we've got a total of like 10 fights on the card today.
It's going to be a heck of a card, and it starts at 3 o'clock at the Don Haskins Center. Tickets are available through the UTEP Ticket Center and Ticketmaster outlets all over town.
Yeah, don't let that 3 o'clock fool you. That's only because we have so many fights before the TV. We've got to get in. But the main fights, the TV fights, start around right around 6 o'clock, and Jennifer Hahn goes in at 8 o'clock. And but the only 2 fights are going to be on television. So anybody thinks they're going to go there, they're going to stay home, and they're going to see everything. They're not going to see everything. They're not going to see Hahn's fight. They're not going to see Trout's fight. They're not going to see the 2 young Olympians on the card. So they're going to miss an awful lot. So this is a great time for fight fans to come down and be part of the be part of one of the biggest boxing events ever happen here.
Absolutely. I mean, Jennifer Hahn versus Lisbeth Crespo. I mean, you want to talk about Jennifer is almost her own fight promoter, isn't she? What she brings to the table in terms of sponsorship and fans and everything else almost makes events
she's really come on
worthy to put on themselves.
She's very well loved in this town, and for good reason. First and foremost is because she's such a good person, representative of the city, and and the fight fans. But hey, if she couldn't fight, it wouldn't matter. But she can. She can fight a lot, and she's put on a lot of good fights here for the fight fans, and going and winning the world championship, being the first one ever from El Paso to win a world championship in boxing. It's a pretty big deal, and she's one of the emerging stars in the women's boxing, not just in El Paso but around the world.
That's something I know that continues to make inroads with fight fans all over. Jennifer Hahn versus Lisbeth Crespo. What can you tell us about Lisbeth Crespo fighting out? I know she's originally from Bolivia but lives in Argentina, I believe, these days. What can you tell us about her?
Well, not a lot, except for what I've seen in the gym. I saw her in the gym twice this week, and man, she looks like she can fight a lot. I mean, I think Jennifer's in for a rough fight.
Okay.
I mean, she's very technically sound, and she has a kind of a roughness, kind of an edge to her that, tells me that she's coming. She's going to be aggressive, and technique-wise, she looks really good, and
so it's going to be
I
a
think
challenge.
Jennifer's got a rough fight on her hands.
And what about? I've seen a couple of predictions about our main event tonight, Ortiz-Alexander, and this is obviously everybody's all about that. Victor Ortiz dancing with the stars, and as you say, a former world welterweight champion, as has Devon Alexander been before his substance abuse issues, climbing back into the ring for both of these guys to try and get back into contention. Somebody predicted today, and I read this out earlier, and it took me aback a little bit. Said Devon Alexander in 4. That was their prediction because Victor comes straight ahead so much, he's going to take a lot of flush punches to the face. And to me, it kind of discounts Victor's heart. Don't you think?
Well, I think it discounts the fact the guy was a great world champion, and it's very rare that two fighters that talented, you can predict a 4th-round knockout, because that means one of them has a long history of being knocked out or something, and that's not the case here.
Right.
I don't see that prediction being anywhere close to being the case, but it has to be a spectacular knockout. It has to be like a one-punch type knockout, and I don't see that. Most of these fighters got to the top not because they were unable to take a punch. It's
right.
Most of those guys that fight at this level and become world champions, they have the ability to take a punch better than most. So for somebody to predict a 4th-round knockout is a little bit.
Yeah, that was CBS Sports. It was like
a little bit of an overreach.
Right, a little bit, it seems to me. And I know that fans are going to be entertained because Victor Ortiz he's that guy. He's the guy who's going to come after you. And I know Devon Alexander a little bit more, I guess, just from what I'm reading, technical. I've not seen him fight. But it's going to be entertaining one way or the other. Contrasting styles, and two guys are going to get in it to go win it because they want to be back in there. They want to be in the conversation.
Yeah, well, when somebody's hungry, and if somebody's hungry, they typically fight harder. It's
right.
I got enough fights when I was a kid that if I was really angry and I really wanted to do well in a fight or whatever, even in football or whatever it was, well, if you're highly motivated, it makes a big difference. And these guys are highly motivated, and they're warriors, and that's why they became world champions in the first place, and they've been to the top of the mountain. They know how it feels, and it feels a whole lot better to be the king than be sitting there looking at some other guy on the throne. It's
sure. And talk about a little bit about the fight directly.
They're both highly motivated, and so you're going to get the best out of them, and they're going to fight to the end.
Talk about the Caleb Plant Porky Medina fight as well, because that's a 168-pound title eliminator. It's also a very big bout. The other TV bout. This is these are two guys who are kind of in the same boat. They want to be in the conversation, and this could be a real war.
Oh yeah, it could. And Medina, he has a long history of making really exciting fights, and he's very aggressive, and and he's just a rough guy. You know, he's a rough veteran fighter, and then this
Caleb Plant's undefeated.
The other kid, he's Caleb Plant. He was like a terrific prospect. He's from Tennessee originally, and but he kind of looks like Conor McGregor. You know, with
right,
that beard and everything.
He does kind of resemble Conor
But
McGregor.
His technique is like flawless. He has great technique.
I was about to say, probably a better
punch.
boxer
He's
than
got a lot of personality. He could. I see him as a big star in the future for boxing, and he might be the one guy that everybody sees on the undercard that could be one of the emerging superstars in boxing.
Outstanding. Well, we look forward to it. Again, it begins at 3, but it's a big card, and you have all sorts of fights even before the main events really get after it. But
oh yeah, a bunch of bonus fights. So typically a boxing card will have 6 or 7 fights. We've got like 10 on this one, and so that's why they're having to start them early. So if somebody wants to come and make a marathon out of it, they can get there at 3, 4 o'clock. But the main bouts go on about 6 o'clock. I wouldn't hesitate and try to show up at 8 o'clock because you'll miss a lot of good boxing.
Yeah, and it's
you can watch boxing every week on TV. Forget the TV part. It's
come out to the live thing.
It's a great opportunity to see a great event live. So we're hoping people choose to come live. It looks like they are. We expect a big crowd, and it should be an exciting night.
Outstanding. Lester, we appreciate you taking time with us.
All right.
Lester Bedford. Yes, sir. Lester Bedford, one of the fight promoters, Texas guy, has been coming to El Paso since the 1980s. So, geez, what we're talking like 30-plus years of bringing quality fights to the Sun City of El Paso, Texas. So we're going to take a break. Are we done? We're done. We are done. All right. Well, the next voice you hear after we're out of commercial will be that of the Iceman, Brandon Cohn, as the UTEP Miners look to break out of that losing skid versus Old Dominion. UTEP women's basketball is next. We appreciate you listening in today. We have enjoyed bringing Crunch Time to you. Our thanks to Tom Herman, TCHC Coach of the Year for the UTEP Miners hockey team, and to Lester Bedford, Sports Promotions of Texas, one of the promoters for the big bout beginning this afternoon at the Don Haskins Center. Ortiz-Alexander, but don't forget Han and Crespo as well. IBF Featherweight Championship of the World for the women's category is on the line tonight with Jennifer Hahn, El Paso Sweetheart, versus Lizbeth Crespo. Thanks for listening. We'll see you on the other side. UTEP women's basketball next on 600 ESPN El Paso.
UTEP basketball fans, the next Kevin Baker radio show will be Tuesday, February 20th at 6 p.m. from the Hilton Garden Inn University, 111 West University Avenue. Come join us as we talk minor basketball with Coach Baker. Enjoy the Baker Burger for just $8 during the live broadcast. It's 2 8-ounce patties, Swiss and American cheese, sauteed mushrooms, crispy bacon, and fries. That's Tuesday, February 20th at 6 p.m. for the Kevin Baker radio show at the Hilton Garden Inn University, 111 West University Avenue.
When you need real news that's up-to-date and reliable, LoneStarTexasNews.com has it right at your fingertips with important developments that can happen quickly. Lone Star Texas News delivers the very latest up-to-date news that's important to Texans. So trust LoneStarTexasNews.com to keep you current in these rapidly changing times.
LoneStarTexasNews.com is presented by Texas Mutual Insurance Company, a policyholder-owned workers' comp provider. Work safe, Texas.
It's Macy's Valentine's Day. One-day sale. Shop incredible deals of the day. Saturday. Like Juniors and Juniors plus-size denim. 50% off. Men's suit separates from Tommy Hilfiger, Michael Kors, and Ryan Seacrest Distinction. $149.99. A great collection of women's shoes. 30 to 50% off. Diamond accent heart pendant. $29.99. With any $25 purchase. And 70% off. Clearance fine jewelry. Don't miss Macy's one-day sale. And Plenty members, don't forget to maximize your savings by using at least 200 Plenty points at checkout. Terms apply. Savings off sale prices. Exclusions apply.
It's time for some straight talk. You have their unlimited plan. So why do you keep running out of high-speed data? Never run out again with Straight Talk's new Ultimate Unlimited plan. Get all the 4G LTE data you want, all high speed, and all for just $55 a month on America's largest, most dependable 4G LTE networks, only from Straight Talk Wireless, only at Walmart.
Video typically streams at DVD quality. Please refer always to the latest terms and conditions of service at straighttalk.com.
There's no place like home. It has a certain magic all its own, and memories are made there every day. A lifetime of good times shared along the way. Have yourself a Bluebell Country Day.
The sweet, pure flavor of hand-cranked homemade vanilla ice cream. Don't it just melt in your mind? Bring back the taste of the good old days every time you go to the store with Bluebell homemade vanilla ice cream.
A lifetime of good times shared along the way. Have yourself a Bluebell Country Day.
Try Bluebell's most popular flavor, homemade vanilla, a rich, homemade tasting vanilla ice cream with a special hand-cranked flavor that takes you back to the good old days. Pick up some today.
Have you ever worked at a place where they didn't want you talking about your salary? Actually, have you ever worked anywhere where they did? Unlikely. But don't you have a right to know? If only there were a simple solution. Well, now there is.
How we find jobs has changed. On Indeed.com, our company reviews give you the inside track on thousands of companies. You can research salaries, benefits, company cultures, and more. All on Indeed.com. Search for greatness. Search Indeed, the world's #1 job site. Indeed is the world's #1 job site according to ComScore total visits.
O'Reilly.
When your battery goes dead, everything can come to a stop. Don't take a chance on getting stranded. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts and get your battery tested free of charge. If your battery does need to be replaced, O'Reilly Auto Parts can help you find the exact Superstart battery that fits your car or truck at a guaranteed low price. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Hi, Tom Bodette. Scientists tell us that Earth is overdue for a huge solar flare. Bad news, it'll probably fry our electronics and technology. Good news, we'll all get a spectacular tan. Well, a good place to hunker down for the looming sunpocalypse is Motel 6. You'll get a great low rate on a great room under a roof and save more for other stuff like sunscreen or a nice big hat. Well, I'm Tom Bodette, and we'll leave the light on for you. Or maybe not.
Everyone loves new technology, especially doorbuster savings up to 40% off. Dell's President's Day sale includes deals on PCs that feature Dell Cinema for incredible color, sound, and streaming. Save up to 40% on select PCs with Intel Core processors and the latest gaming PCs, plus the hottest electronics and accessories. Shop doorbuster offers throughout the sale going on now, plus free shipping. Just visit Dell.com/President's Day or call 800-BUY-DELL. That's 800-BUY-DELL.
When you're hiring, you don't want to sort through dozens of irrelevant resumes. You want a short list of qualified candidates. That's why you need Indeed.com. Diana's hired with Indeed.
It just gives me so many more qualified applicants to choose from.
Post a job in minutes. Set up screener questions. Then zero in on qualified candidates using an intuitive online dashboard. Discover why 3 million businesses use Indeed for hiring. Post a job today at Indeed.com/hire. Search for greatness. Search Indeed.
There it is. The brand spanking new Holy Mother of Awesome 4K Ultra HD TV. With a gazillion pixels of super crisp resolution, you can see it in your living room. And then, you see the price. Your hopes are officially dashed. Don't let those big box retailers give you static. Swing by Rent-A-Center or go to rentacenter.com and get the big brands you want for small payments you can afford. All without credit. Rent-A-Center. Big brands. Small payments. Rental purchase transactions. See store for details.
It's Macy's Valentine's Day one-day sale. Shop incredible deals of the day. Saturday, like Juniors and Juniors plus-size denim, 50% off. Men's suit separates from Tommy Hilfiger, Michael Kors, and Ryan Seacrest Distinction, $149.99. A great collection of women's shoes, 30 to 50% off. Diamond accent heart pendant, $29.99 with any $25 purchase, and 70% off clearance fine jewelry. Don't miss Macy's one-day sale. And Plenty members, don't forget to maximize your savings by using at least 200 Plenty points at checkout. Terms apply. Savings off sale prices. Exclusions apply.
It's time for some straight talk. You have their unlimited plan. So why do you keep running out of high-speed data? Never run out again with Straight Talk's new Ultimate Unlimited plan. Get all the 4G LTE data you want, all high speed, and all for just $55 a month on America's largest, most dependable 4G LTE networks, only from Straight Talk Wireless, only at Walmart.
Video typically streams at DVD quality. Please refer always to the latest terms and conditions of service at straighttalk.com.
The biggest names in sports. 600 ESPN is KROD El Paso.
And KROD.com.
The following is an exclusive presentation of Team 600 ESPN El Paso.
UTEP Women's Basketball on 600 ESPN El Paso is sponsored by Palo Verde Homes, Hilton Garden Inn University, YMCA of El Paso, Tracy Miller, Holiday Inn Sunland Park, Team Rudy Ledesma, Longhorn Distributing, Upper Valley Urgent Care, Courtyard by Marriott El Paso Airport. Let's go courtside with Brandon Cohn and Tracy Miller.
We have the national anthem going on right now. This is UTEP Women's Basketball. I'm Salvador Montes at the KROD control room. Brandon, of course, out in Norfolk, as they call it. We'll go ahead and pause for a quick break and return to UTEP Women's Basketball right here, of course, on 600 ESPN El Paso.
Thinking about life insurance? What if you could make one free phone call and learn your best price from nearly a dozen highly rated, price-competitive companies? Well, that's exactly what happens when you call SelectQuote Life. For example, George is 40. He was getting sky-high quotes from other companies because he takes meds to control his blood pressure. But when I shopped around, I found him a 10-year, $500,000 policy for under $25 a month. I'm SelectQuote agent Dan Savino. And believe me, if SelectQuote isn't shopping for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For your free quote, call 800-619-0789. That's 800-619-0789. 800-619-0789. Or go to SelectQuote.com. Since 1985, we shop, you save.
Get full details on the example policy at SelectQuote.com/commercials. Or price could vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
You're listening to UTEP Women's Basketball on 600 ESPN El Paso.